Hello, beautiful soul family, our family of light. Can you believe we are into season 4? Thank you so much for staying with us. We just really appreciate that. And just thank you so much for being here with us. I'm Caroline Crawford.
And I'm Paul Crawford. And just before I tell you about what's coming up on this show, I just want to say to you, if you get benefit from this, then please ask you to subscribe and to hit that like button and to share it. It really helps our channel out. So, on tonight's show of finding your power through inner peace. Quite a vast subject, so this is going to be a bit of a condensed version of everything, or some aspects of that. So we'll be talking about that. And we'll also be posting Caroline's energetics update, the full version of it, onto YouTube, as usual. But because we wanted to give a little bit more time to this subject of finding that inner peace and creating that stronger power, we're not doing the summary this time. We're going to mix things up a little bit. We're going to have Jerama's channel teachings as usual.
Yeah, and I always love that, Jerama, they're a team of consciousness for those of you that are new joining us. And they tune in, they know what each one of us as individuals that are watching or listening to this, what we need. It's so often, isn't it, that people say to us, gosh, it was as though they were talking directly at me. But that's because they have that insight, they have that connection to us all. So that's why, I feel they've expanded my heart more than anything. So I always look forward to Jerama's teachings.
Yeah. And on this season, we're going to be changing things up a little bit. And we are intending at some point, we don't know when during the season we're going to start this, but we're going to start having some guest speakers join us and bring in either their field of specialty or certain thoughts on certain topics coming through with that, just to shake things up a little bit.
Yeah.
We've got to move forward, and change is always a good thing done in the right way, with mindfulness.
So finding your power through inner peace. And the first thing on a kind of spiritual note is acceptance is an integral part of peace, and to acknowledge and accept that there are always going to be things in the outside world in existence that we don't have control over. But what we can do, although we may not be able to take any physical action, by cultivating that sense of peace within us, then we can share and radiate out that peace to any situation, to any circumstance. And that is then going to, just allow that peacefulness to become a greater part of our lives and the outside world. Because if we fight against the present moment, or if we fight against our emotions, we're kind of, in a sense, rejecting our emotions and denying the experience. And in complete acceptance, we can be in our power to integrate that energy and learn to choose from a new point, a point of empowerment. Because if we resist things, it's just going to persist. So in that acceptance, in cultivating that inner peace, we can then send that out, that radiates much further afield out of the physical body. And peace will always have a positive effect on any situation, and we have to know and to trust that your contribution of peace to the world is a blessing in any circumstance. So the more we cultivate and feel that within ourselves first, which is the key, because we can't give that of which we do not have. But if we all remember that we have that capacity to find peace within, in that peace is always present in every now moment, that empowers us, and again, that empowers the world.
Yeah, and I think it's about creating new habits, because the body is like a sponge and it has a memory of everything that we're doing. So every time we have a thought, the body absorbs it, our whole being absorbs it. We can't separate any aspect of ourselves. And especially then, if we have a thought and then we vocalize it, we're actually energizing that thought even more by that vocalization. And so we just need to start being more mindful of our thoughts and what we're actually saying, and creating new habits so that we are thinking and speaking about things that are more uplifting, of an energy that's going to create a greater positivity within us, rather than looking at the pessimistic element of life or what's going on. And I think it was, I remember Wayne Dyer saying, nobody knows enough to be a pessimist. And that's always stuck with me, because I think it's so true. We don't know what the higher power of source has in mind for everything. You know, all of these, this sometimes chaoticness that's going on in the world, the energy that's creating is there to almost show us a way forward. But rather than focusing on that negative aspect of what's going on, we need to create a positivity to something, and that's done through connecting and aligning ourselves to our true soul, the truth of our soul, the truth of who we are, and allowing that inner peace to instill a greater sense of strength and empowerment in every aspect of us.
Yeah. There's also, I mean, that's so true, but I mean, I know we both were, but you in particular were a great fan of Wayne Dyer, weren't you? He was such a wonderful man. Just thinking of him makes me feel peaceful, because he was very calming, and that's the other thing, isn't it? If we're feeling agitated or anxious, or to just calm ourselves down. But there's a very useful exercise that I came across many years ago, and that I use regularly without kind of become unconscious now. And this is what we mean by when we rewire the brain, it can become our new habit, and they can become more positive habits that are very empowering and nourishing to us. So this useful exercise is called RAIN, I always say A for apple, because I know some Americans think I'm saying E. R-A for apple, I-N. So the R stands for to recognize. So as you recognize and name the emotion you're feeling, by doing that, you can calm down any over arousal. And then A is to allow. So as we allow the feeling and the situation to be there, we can just gradually give it that space to work with it. Because as I said earlier, we don't want to numb it or avoid it, for that which we resist will persist. In other words, it will grow bigger. So, allow those feelings to come up and sit quietly and just let them move through you. And then the I is to investigate. So you might ask yourself the question, what most wants my attention right now? What am I believing? Where am I feeling this in my body? And if you can place your hands there and breathe to just help soften that. But remember, all of this inner inquiry, this self-inquiry, is carried out with love and compassion, never with any judgment or criticism, because that will just add to whatever you're feeling. And then the N is for nourish. So with natural loving awareness, talk to yourself as you would a dear friend, or even a child, somebody that you would have patience for, that you would have caring for, because as you do that, this is where you can also connect to the heart, to your higher awareness, and create more peace. And you can also talk to yourself, and I do this again without realizing a lot of the time, talk to yourself as the third person, because by doing that, we actually activate the care circuit in the brain, so that we then feel more cared for. So if I was feeling anxious, for instance, I might say, right, let's just calm down, let's just breathe, let's just let our feelings come to the surface, and just, it's okay, just be accepting. Know that we're going to move through this. Know that, you know, we've overcome so much in the past. Just be calm. So R is to recognise, A to allow, I to investigate without judgment, and N to nourish. A really good thing to remember.
And I think with that nourishment, it's not just carrying out some spiritual practices and carrying out mental practices as well of self-nourishment, but also physically. Because often when we're sometimes maybe lost in the mire of something, we get into those cycles of that way of thinking, that we forget to nourish our bodies. And often that is one of the first fundamental things that goes. And the more nourished our body is, the better it will be. Because, as I said to you just a little while ago, everything's connected. So even something as simple as keeping hydrated can create a completely different energy in you. The types of foods that you're having. And that then progresses itself, because if you're taking care of yourself physically, you start to be more noticeable of taking care of yourself mentally and emotionally as well. And that all opens itself up to becoming a stronger individual, an individual that doesn't get swayed by the craziness that can take place at times in the outside world, because you're more centered, you're more connected to that inner peace, that empowering inner peace.
I think also, you know, very simple things like Paul said, keeping hydrated, eating well, exercise is another good thing, you know, relaxation and self-care, but thinking of things that have really made you smile, or those kind of awe-inspiring moments. I know the other week we were kayaking, and we kayaked to a little beach you can only reach by boat, and there's just a little bit of a hill, not much because we're in Florida. Those of you that know Florida, it's very flat, but we parked our little kayaks up, and as we walked up, as we got to the highest part before we went to the sea, I just stopped and I was like, oh wow, the sea was just turquoise blue, there was a couple of big white clouds, it was just so beautiful, wasn't it? The sun was glistening on the surface of the water, and I said to Paul, just stop from it, just look at that. And when we take that time to really savour those beautiful moments that bring us joy, and we really focus on them, it really instills a sense of peacefulness within us. And again, it rewires our brain for not just peacefulness, but for happiness and for resilience. So really allow yourself to savour happy moments of awe that will really rewire your brain. It might be something simple like watching children play, or playing with children, playing with your pet, might be baking something, might be watching the birds feed, you know, that first hot drink in the morning. Or I know if we were in England now, we'd have our fire going. We just used to love sitting quietly and gazing into that fire. So just really allow those things to savour within you and kind of seep into you, because they're so helpful.
And that's what I loved about with looking into a fire, because you kind of lost yourself. And that's really another form of connecting to that inner stillness. You're losing yourself into the beauty of something. And that starts to really change your whole perspective and your energy. You start to let go of those things that don't resonate with that. Because you're creating a completely opposite energy to those negative elements, something that's going to be more fulfilling and with the right mindfulness, more easily sustained.
Yeah.
So I think it's such an important part
Yeah.
of it all. That,
Yeah.
and it's those simple things. It doesn't need to be anything exaggerated,
No.
or indeed even, you know, you don't need to take
Being silly at times.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I'm always silly, you know that. You know. But I think it doesn't need to take a whole long time to do something, or spend a whole long time doing something.
Do you know what I remember? The other day we were on the beach. Not that we go to the beach all the time, but we do regularly. And I said to Paul, we were just lying, I thought, do you know any jokes? And he told me this really, we were just really laughing, weren't we?
Yeah.
So just, you know, just being silly, just share. I think he looked some up on his phone. Didn't you have a joke app?
I've
So
actually,
so
I've actually got a book, 101 jokes,
Yeah, so,
or 1,001 jokes or something.
We'll
And,
go to a good comedy night. We know somebody watching out there that actually did a full comedy act. So yeah. But anything like that. But just keeping a balance so you're not depleting your energy. Also, you know. Helping others is a really great thing to do. Volunteer work can help bring us a feeling of inner peace and happiness through those acts of service, but to have that balance so we can increase our general feeling of peace. But yeah, when we create that peace within, we resonate that out to the world. And remember that peace is always present. We just have to go within, make that connection through the heart, and remember that acceptance is an integral part of peace. And it's only fear that holds us back, that stops us in our track. So, you know, when we can experience peace, we can and have that expression of our true self, we breathe that peace in, we can really immerse ourselves in those feelings of inner peace, and it is an innate part of all of us. Peace is always present within us. So I thought we'd do a little breathing exercise just to help give you something to take away. And we're going to use it with a little mantra. We're going to do 2 mantras. And
I think I think this, what I was saying about you only need to do something for a short period of time.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. So, you know, really, really just enjoy this.
So I'm going to invite you to just, for a moment, just close your eyes. Don't do that if you're driving. But close your eyes and just connect to the breath. Just take a nice long breath if you can, if it's comfortable, in and out through the nose. And then we're going to say part of the mantra on the in breath and part on the out breath. So when you're ready, say to yourself as you breathe in, I breathe in peace and healing energies. Hold the breath for a second. And as you breathe out, I radiate peace and healing to the world. So on the in breath, I breathe in peace and healing energies. On the out breath, I radiate peace and healing to the world. We'll do that once more. I breathe in peace and healing energies. I radiate peace and healing to the world. Notice how you're feeling, and then we'll do one more mantra. So as you inhale, I am at peace with myself and the world. As you exhale, I am centered and grounded in peace. Inhale, I am at peace with myself and the world. Exhaling, I am centered and grounded in peace. Once more, I am at peace with myself and the world. I am centered and grounded in peace. And so it is. So just observe how you're feeling now. And know you can take those little mantras in your breath at any time. So I can feel Jerama coming through. I'm really looking forward to their teachings, as I'm sure you are too. And I shall sit back and relax and enjoy and savour all these wise words and peace.
Hello, my friends. Remember that you are love, and peacefulness and stillness is an aspect of that loving energy. So as Caroline has been saying, it is a natural part of you, it is a part of you, that peacefulness is a part of you that always exists, that is always there. And that is why you are able to tap back into it. No matter how long you have been experiencing a stressful experience, a stressful environment or situation, you are still able to connect at any time back into that inner peace. And the more that you can do so earlier in any stage, the better it is for you. For life in itself is about balance. And the more you can stay within that inner balance, that state of inner balance, the more prepared you are for anything that takes place externally to you. Your experiences in life are a reflection of your own energy. Therefore, the more you can manifest and maintain within yourself those energies of stillness, connectedness, of oneness, of peace and love, then you will be resonating more frequently with those same experiences on an outer level. But as you are part of this physical world, things go wrong. Things happen that you do not like. You may be caught up in an experience of a less than positive nature. You may be observant of things that are taking place, not only within your own immediate life circle, but within the world that does not sit well with you. But when you are in balance, when you are at peace, you are able to look upon that which is taking place with a different energy to it. You look at it in a different light. Rather than going into the darkness of it, you are more able to stay within the light of your own being and create a sense of a deeper understanding within what is taking place by looking at what is the positive element to it. For we are appreciative that all of life is not positive. You need both the light and the shade to take place in order to assist your growth in this physical world. That growth towards a deeper understanding of the truth of your being. That growth towards a deeper understanding of what you are capable of achieving in this physical existence. And this is part of the steps that are necessary to create that elevated state of existing, that expanded state of existing, that state of being connected more on a spiritual element to everything that is. And when you achieve this, this is part of that moving to this new higher level of existing. Often it's referred to as the 5D world. We would much rather just think of it as an expanded state of being. For the realities are that it is an infinite amount of levels. Each time you are progressing, you are moving to a new level, a new understanding. So allow yourselves the freedom to make new choices, choices that are more beneficial to you in the present moment. And do, or we should say, make a decision to do something now rather than later, because often that later never comes. And between the now and the later, if you have been experiencing a more negative energy within yourself, a greater amount of stress and anxiety, and quite possibly some fearful energies, those energies are only going to amplify the longer they are a part of you. So bring your focus and attention to the now, to the mindfulness of being what is taking place, what you are able to do in this present moment. And then allow yourself to take action to doing that. This is true freedom. Freedom that you live your life through your own choices, rather than allowing yourself and your life to be dictated to from external influences. So find a way of being still in whichever way you find is best for you. You are all unique individuals, so allow yourself to be unique and to do what is right for you. And that may be something completely different to those who are around you. But allow yourself to be you. That is why you are here. That is why you are seen in this physical world as an individual, even though nothing is separate. You and your energies have an influence on everything within creation, both seen and unseen. So be free, my friends. Live more mindfully in the present moment and allow that inner peace to come forward and play a stronger role in empowering you to a greater resonance of love. And with that, my friend, we will say goodbye for now.
Wonderful, wise words there with some great guidance for us. Excuse me. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Jerama. So I'm sure, like I did, you can, even though you're watching online, you can still feel those energies because they're resonating outwards. And it's such a lovely feeling to be in that energy of these higher beings. But remember, you have a higher self. You have a higher consciousness. And as we connect and look and feel that inner peace, we're allowing that part of us that is of our higher self to become a greater part of our lives. And that is how we are all ascending. So we'll do a little recap. So just remember that acceptance is such an integral part. We can't control everything outside of ourselves, but we can control how we choose to feel about it. And we can find that peace because it's always there, present in every moment. Just make that choice to connect.
And I think being mindful of our thoughts and what we're saying, and mindful of being more present with, rather than losing ourselves in what hasn't taken place. Let's deal with where we are now.
And remember, peace will always have a positive effect on any circumstance. We're creating it within ourselves. We then resonate and take that, radiate that out into the world. And your contribution of peace is such a blessing and a gift to the world. Remember that.
And I think in finding that stillness, for me, meditation is a real key part of that. But find, your way, what works for you. Savor those lovely moments, those fun moments, those silly moments, and let that take you forward to empower you as you find your power through cultivating inner peace. So I hope you've really enjoyed the show. It's been great being back with you into our 4th season. And it worked well having September off because it's such a busy month for us, as we said before. But take all our love. Make sure that what about leaving what makes you happy, what makes you feel peaceful when you watch on YouTube? In the comments below, where's your happy place? What do you find brings you peace? And keep smiling, because that also sends positive energies to the brain and to the body. So from my heart to yours, I'm sending you all my love. Our next show is November the 15th, and I do apologise if you heard papers rustling because I couldn't see where I'd written the date for the next show. Oh, never mind, I'll remain peaceful. So the next show, November the 15th, and we really look forward to seeing you then. Keep resonating that peace. Yeah, and sending you all our love, and remembering you're an important part. You play a major role in creating peace in the world by creating it in yourself first.
So till next month, take care. We love you. Namaste.
Namaste.